appointed time has arrived. I will call this meeting of the Economic Development Committee to order for Tuesday, January 4, our first meeting of the year. Record will show we have 4 members present, and Alder Killian is excused this evening. First thing on the order of business, approval of the minutes from our meeting of 12/7 of last year. Do I have a motion to approve? I have one from Watson. Do I have a second? I have a second from Rasmussen. Any concerns about the minutes, changes, questions? Okay, thank you. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, thank you. Number 2, discussion and possible action on approving planning option agreement with T-Wall Enterprises LLC for River Life lots 6, 7, and 8. Attorney Ann Jacobson is online with us, and Director Brodick is here with us. So, Liz, would you like to take it?
Sure. And Attorney Jacobson, please correct anything or add anything that you think is pertinent. But at our last Economic Development Committee meeting on December 7th, this committee decided to give T-Wall until March 1, 2022 to perform due diligence on the parcels. And it was requested then that development agreement negotiations would take place after that due diligence timeframe to be completed 60 days after the expiration of the planning option agreement that is in front of you today. Those negotiations then are to be complete as of May 1, 2022. The agreement our council has put together reflects those terms and is very similar to the planning option agreement that we had previously executed with Gorman and Company. So it's pretty straightforward. It's exactly what the committee had requested at our last meeting.
Very good. Before we move on, I would ask, there's a couple of phone numbers on our WebEx screen, one ending in 13 and one ending in 35. Just for our benefit, could you please identify yourselves? Number 13, please.
This is Lindsay Pearson from Badger Liquor.
Okay, thank you. And 35?
Jerry Kerr with Badger Liquor.
Very good. Thank you for joining us tonight. Appreciate it. Okay, so we've heard Director Brodick. Alder Rasmussen?
Thank you. I agree. I think that the planning option agreement looks like exactly what we asked for. Certainly makes sense, and I think it'll help us at least move forward in the direction we want to go. So I'll move that we approve that agreement.
Very good. Thank you. Do I have a second? I have a second from Watson. Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Very good. Thank you. Number 3, discussion and possible action on approving First Amendment to River Life Condos Development Agreement. We have Attorney Jacobson online, on phone rather, and Liz Brodick here with us. Liz, you want to kick it off?
Sure. So this agreement originally came back for amendment of commencement and completion dates. The original dates on the agreement were May 31, 2021 and June 30, 2022, respectively. In the course of amending those dates, we also amended a few other things in the agreement, including the number of TIF payments, not the amount, just the number of payments, the date by which the city must complete the adjacent parking lot and sidewalks, the easements for the water lines, soil management, temporary access to city-owned land for construction purposes, and a $50,000 cleanup grant to assist in the removal and disposal of contaminated soils from the property. Those conditions were agreed upon after extensive negotiations over several months between both parties, the city and the development team. And I believe both parties are very satisfied with that we've adequately addressed these issues to provide for the mutual benefit of each and move forward with the agreement. So,
thank you, Director Brodick. You know, it's good to finally have this in front of us to look at and consider. So, committee, do I have a motion to approve to begin with? I have a motion for Rasmussen.
I have a question, I guess.
Okay.
With regard to the cleanup grant, is that an additional $50,000 investment to eradicate those soils, or is that still part of the original commitment, just split up different?
that is an additional $50,000, I believe, though, is the way we negotiated it.
Okay.
There was back and forth, and that was, it certainly will not take care of all of the cost to the developer.
Sure.
But it will assist.
Okay, and the 5 payments versus 2 is the original commitment in smaller pieces?
Correct.
Okay. And then with regard to this particular project, has the concept of the plan changed, or what's happening with the amphitheater?
The amphitheater was, I'm sorry, I should have noted that. The amphitheater was taken out of the agreement. That part, because that should really come back as a separate agreement, a separate proposal all of its own. The original language around the amphitheater was, I believe, only 2 or 3 lines. It was very, very vague and didn't contemplate any maintenance or anything like that. So we agreed that it makes more sense to come back as a separate agreement if they choose to move forward with it. There is a specific implementation plan that still needs to come back to Planning Commission, and so we don't, I don't think that we know exactly what that physically looks like yet, but the structure of the agreement is this.
The amphitheater was part of the draw with the unit, and so, not to say that the condos themselves will be undesirable without it, I don't believe that that's the case, but I do want us to continue to push for that amenity, because, you know, even as a shared investment, I think that that's an enhancement to this complex and to the riverfront in general, and that was really part of the appeal when we chose them. So I definitely do not want to let that drop. So,
Well, I think that, you know, yes, it's been from the get-go part of the vision, but was always considered, you know, a separate partnership project, if you will, that we'd have, the parameters of, you know, of which we hadn't outlined or whatever, you know, financially or responsibilities or anything. I think, though, isn't it true, Director Brodek, that, you know, the footprint of the building still allows, you know, the space that we would need for the addition of the amphitheater. So it's not like that's gone away as a potential use of the land, right?
I believe so. I think what we would have to do is shift the footprint of the building from, if I'm remembering correctly, we would shift it from the south to the north to accommodate
Right.
the amphitheater on the south rather than the north side.
Right.
so I think going forward, even if we approve this agreement, it should be understood in the planning that they should be contemplating that that option is not going away and that we still want it. Because if they build it, and then that site is no longer conducive to accommodate the amphitheater, then all bets are off. And so I can understand it being a different negotiation and a different set of agreements, but I don't want anyone thinking that we have given up on the idea of having that amenity because that was part of the sell.
And I'm
So-
pretty sure the committee will probably dig its heels in on that because, yeah, it's been something we've liked from, you know, from the very beginning and
Right.
would not like to lose it.
Yep, so I'll move to approve this.
all right, thank you.
As long as we continue negotiations separately on the amphitheater and make sure in the planning that the building faces the correct direction to accommodate that amphitheater at a future date.
Very good, thank you. Do I have a second? I have a second from Matt Kohene. A second and something to say.
A question. Where is this cleanup grant coming from? The money, is that part of our money for contamination that we're using, or?
I do see that Finance Director Grote is on the line with us. Mary Ann, do you have insight about that you could share?
Well, we didn't really discuss that specifically. I mean, this would be a TID eligible expense, and so, I guess we would consider that as the financing source, but, you know, that certainly could be debated.
And, am I correct in assuming, though, what we're talking about is not simply moving dirt around, but actually dealing with dirt with issues?
Correct. The soil underneath the parcel, there are plumes of contamination. We had discussed using that for different purposes, what that would look like. Our environmental engineer did not think that that was a wise idea, and so we looked at a lot of different options over several meetings for that soil. And really what it comes down to is the wisest option is to remove it and dispose of it in a landfill as most contaminated soil would be treated. And that, I believe the cleanup cost, I don't have the numbers off the top of my head, but I want to say that the total cost was definitely in the 6 digits. I think it was around 120,000, depending on the cubic feet or yards of dirt that would need to be removed. So this is a portion of the cost to assist them in doing that.
And it's to account for the excavation and the disposal fees?
Yes, it's hard to say, of all of that money, where this specifically is
Sure.
going to go, but yeah.
In concept, though, that's.
Exactly.
Okay, yep, that makes sense.
Okay, so Alder McElhenney, there was a second from your seat? Okay, thank you. Anything further from the committee? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, that carries. Thank you. Item number 4, discussion and possible action on approving sale of 9913/9915 Innovation Way in Business Campus to Badger Liquor for a distribution center facility. Ifric,
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
you bet.
Badger Liquor is requesting city approval of the sale of 4.7-acre parcel of city-owned property on the west section of the Wausau Business Campus, just south of Great Lakes Cheese. City staff has been working with Badger Liquor representatives to split out the 4.7-acre parcel from a larger existing 26-acre parcel. The proposed CSM is included in your packet. Badger Liquor is proposing the development of a 22,538 square foot approximately transfer depot and distribution center at this site. The distribution center land use requires a conditional use in the current zoning district, and that's currently in process with the Plan Commission. They had their public hearing in December, and then we'll be bringing it back this month for action. The proposed purchase price for the land is $12,500 per acre, or a total of $59,162.50. They're not requesting any incentives or city assistance, and the project is estimated to have an improvement value of $6.5 million for that new building. As you heard earlier, we have Jerry Pruitt and Lindsay Pearson from Badger Liquor available, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you for that summary. Appreciate it. Any questions from the committee? I see shaking heads. Do I have a motion to approve this? I have one from Watson. Do I have a second? From McElhenney. Thank you. Further discussion? Not anticipating any. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Very good. Well, thank you. Appreciate it. Quick and painless. That concludes our agenda for this evening. A rather quick ED meeting to kick off the year. I have a motion to adjourn, please. From Watson, second. We have a second. All in favor? Can walk away. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.